Diana Hart, Garden Director from Poplar Village Gardens, and I'm going to talk a little bit today about one of my favorite subjects, which is permaculture. Now, I am a student of permaculture. I don't have any design certificates. I don't have anything else. I just do reading, and I do lots of experimenting. And my permaculture journey kind of started in this front yard here. Back when I moved in, we had these two giant trees. We've got a 10-foot drop down to the sidewalk. It was really scary to mow, and so I really just started with things like my 3-star sustainable landscaping certification and my National Wildlife Federation wildlife habitat certification. But as these trees died, I've gradually put things in here that I wanted to have in here that wouldn't require me to do that scary mowing job that I didn't like. The next part of my journey involved some study about urban agriculture, a lot of individual research about native plants, and building some connections with people in the community who have some knowledge about permaculture and native plants. This bed right here was added as part of that project. We've got a lot of natives in here and some other things, and we also added, in addition to our growing area over here, we added a couple of food growing beds in the front yard. I also, with my front yard landscaping, included garlic because they have such a beautiful look to them when their scapes come up. Part of my permaculture journey involved restructuring the beds and changing the way that I was planting food. Now, in this particular area, we've expanded this. We are working with materials that someone else no longer needs, or materials that we had on the premises. I think we did purchase some cinder blocks, but we're really trying to go with sustainable practices, which is in keeping with permaculture design. What I can say about these beds is we're doing a lot of interplanting. We're kind of experimenting, planting some things together in order to help other plants, not just companion plants, but plants that can share the same space. So one of the things that I do as part of my practice is I try to make observations about the plants, what they like, what they don't like, and in particular, this raspberry patch is an example of that. I tried to dig up all my raspberry bushes that were growing throughout the yard and take them down to the raspberry trellis and plant them so that we would have a nice, orderly way of growing our raspberries. But these raspberry bushes, they totally just want to be here. And so what I've ended up doing is I've reserved this space for the raspberries to grow. So within this space, we allow them to grow in the place that they choose. One of our experiments within the whole idea of permaculture was these small mounds. Now, originally I'd planned to grow squash on them, and we've grown other things on them as well. This year we've planted over half of our mounds now, and we have like 52 mounds. This one has already got some things up in it. It's got our squash, I think it's summer squash, and beans. And then our deep watering systems are doing their job and making the watering less time consuming. So one of the experiments that I've been doing is using these mounds. I looked it up, a few years ago. What if I tried to grow corn on here? I'm not really a fan of growing corn. I feel like it takes a large amount of space. But in these hills, I'm growing the family traditional popcorn from seed that is many generations down from the seed that my grandparents used. What I have done here is I've already planted beans on the mound. We've got our slow watering system in, and then we will install the popcorn seed in here, but the beans will shelter the ground and help conserve water in addition to the slow watering system that we have installed. And they're nitrogen fixers, so they will assist with the nutrition for the corn plants. I'm standing here in front of one of the guilds where I've spent almost all of my time working this weekend. Now, the first thing I want to say is that the time that it takes to fully develop a permaculture food forest is more like decades rather than just a few years. So this food forest is in its infancy, and one of the problems that we are having out here is with the bindweed. In a mature food forest, there would be a lot of foliage and growth of native plants and food plants on the ground to kind of shield the ground and keep some of the weeds from growing. But what we have done by putting this mulch down, in addition to building up the soil and inviting the worms to come in, is we've also made this space where the bindweed can come in and take over. And I have seen bindweed climb over mature bushes and kill them over a course of years. So I have been putting extra time into making sure that we get the bindweed out of here. You can see the difference between the areas that we have taken the bindweed out and the places where we have not taken the bindweed out. As I was weeding, I come in from the edge, and we did place seed berry down here. So there are little tiny food plants of various sizes that are coming up in this guild, and I am finding them as I remove the bindweed. So we are going to be manually removing it and providing ways for it to not survive well until this food forest is more mature. Every root system, see, these two are connected. So if I had only gotten one, then there would have been the other one that was still making food for the whole plant. And you can see how these roots are very thick and spaghetti-like. I think they hold a lot of energy, so they have enough energy that even when we take that food away, it's going to take some time and repeated weeding in order to get them so they won't come back.